What's up? What's up, y'all? It comes down to the man. Now, the video I did this morning, the podcast I did this morning, was about how you still gotta have a cool personality. I had a couple gentlemen comment on it. One, he had said something about being able to get girls with cars, but he didn't have a car. And I just answered, no, they were interested in you as a man. And then somebody else said they were able to get women and they were homeless. But then it kind of changed up once they started getting stuff. Once again, it was because of who he was as a man. I'm going to tell a story. I know how I do. Ron got a lot of stories. Well, a lot of life experiences. I actually lived life. That's one thing. I actually lived life. One day it'll be in a biography or autobiography, because I'm kind of greedy. I don't want to give anybody else the money. And I won't embellish. Only thing I'll embellish. Actually, I can't think of anything. Honestly, as an aside, some of the shit I've done in life, experiencing, I could be like, tell it truthfully, exactly, and people still say bullshit. But it's weird. It's weird. I don't know. Maybe shit. I did some shit. I could be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But anyway, let me tell a story. I remember when I still lived in DC years ago, and I lived near American University. And anybody know that area? You know, Richie area, Tony area, and you know, sometimes my grandmother lived in Northeast, and you know, I'll be going back and forth. But the road I took back. Damn, I can't even remember that street now. Shit. Now I'm going to remember as soon as I get off of here. But anyway, it went through Tinley Circle. You know, y'all know where that is, on Wisconsin Avenue. Went through Tinley Circle. There was a older black homeless man that lived that lived there. He had a little tent there. And he's an interesting cat, just from a distance. I got a lot of life lessons just by driving by and seeing him for a few moments. A lot of life lessons. Now, he was an older gentleman. He was a little bit overweight. Well, a lot overweight, actually. But the thing that struck me about him was the dignity he had. He had a tent, but he also had a couple, like, folding chairs, and he had a table. And I would drive by sometimes, and I noticed he would have like some Windex spray and take care of that table. And really around his area, just around his area, around his tent, he always kept it clean. You didn't see any trash, anything like that. In fact, what was interesting, sometimes I drive by there and it'd be like some young white person sitting there like he was counseling them or something. And that struck me. But the thing that struck me, not so much he was counseling some white person, but despite being homeless, he carried himself a certain way. Because if you're the type of person who keeps shit around you clean, that's a sign of discipline. So I said, no matter what, however he got to that spot, he still had a level of discipline. And one thing, discipline is a very important aspect of manhood, because it shows his will. You got to have a strong will to stay disciplined. Even under those circumstances. I mean, he could have easily said, you know, screw it, I'm in this position, let me just be a bum out here. And even his clothes, I mean, I'm not sure how he got his clothes washed, but honestly, he looked like somebody who might have just lived in the neighborhood and just sit in the park with a chair. You know, a chair and a table. I don't know. I don't really get too spiritual on these videos, and, you know, I don't promote a system, but whatever deity you worship, sometimes I always say they're always in the places they need to be. The deity will always put its angels wherever it needs to be. And, you know, he probably helped some people. But the thing that just struck me, just how he carried himself as a man. You know? Too often, and this is why, you know, I've had some videos talking about the whole money and status thing, and people argue with you. But, and this is something I said before, that's cool, that's an extension. Shoot, I love money, I know, shoot. I love to hold it in my pockets, love to have it to spend. Got a lot of it in my bank account. But that's not who I am as a man. Like, a lot of people have told me in the comments, and also privately, they hit me up. Coaching clients have told me how much I've brought to them just from the knowledge that I shared, the wisdom I shared, the wisdom I gained from the mistakes that I made. Because let's be clear on a little tangent. The things I know is because I made a mistake. I tell people so you don't make the same thing. That's how the older generation is supposed to guide the younger generation. You done been through the shit, so you're going to tell them, all right, you need to avoid this and that. That's how it's supposed to work. And then the younger generation, when they become elders, do the same thing. So anyway, you getting some knowledge from me. Now, I'm driving my 2007 Malibu. And I mean, you know, sometimes somebody asks about the engine or something. Maybe they'll hear something. I mean, it's getting older. I'll probably get a new car at some point. But think about something. Think about something. Say right now I can stop filming, or I can even film. Go drive to a Mercedes dealership, or well, the nearest one we have is a BMW dealership, right? I could drive to the BMW, and with the money I have in my accounts, I could put probably 50% down on a new BMW. Plus trade this in a little bit more. And then tomorrow I'm doing a video, driving along, but unless you're a BMW owner, how much of this can you really see? You wouldn't be able to tell. And even if I say, hey, I got a BMW, y'all might congratulate me, but would that change the quality of the information that I'm providing to you? Or here's something else for you. Say you are a detractor, because I know y'all watch too. Would that change anything? Oh, Rom got a BMW. Let me show him some respect and respect what he's saying. No, it wouldn't change anything. But it's like that. It's like that with a man. Ultimately, a man can't be about his possessions. Now, who he is as a man might garner him those possessions, might garner him that money and status. In fact, that's how it should work. You should be getting there through hard work. Should, but you know, this politics and all that. People don't always work hard for their money. Another conversation. But does that change who I am as a person if I got a new car right now? Same person, same man. See, that's the important thing. See, one thing. This is a trick culture. This is a trick culture. Men, that's the matrix. You put in a situation about women where they say, oh, you got to have this, you got to have that to get with us. They put a premium on their sex, and they say, hey, this is what you got to do to qualify for it, when they know it's some bullshit. Because they'll make you qualify and make you do all that, use your resources, but still, they'll get with a real man and have sex with him for free, or deal with him for free, or even yearn him. Sometimes they'll get your resources, have his baby, and say, oh no, that looked like one of my distant uncles you never seen. But it comes down to the man. See, as a man, see, one of the things, it's all right to get the money, get status, all of that shit. You should. That means you working hard. That means you should be rewarded for it. But don't walk out and think, oh, automatically now I'll get the woman. Because ultimately that might lure her in, and she might divest you of that money, but ultimately you gotta be about the man. Now in those situations where a woman will get with somebody who might not have much, it's always the man. Now, of course, that man, you know, in this society, you need to get at least enough to take care of yourself. But it's still the man no matter what. Because, I'll tell you what. Now, I haven't really talked about women's infidelity, but I've known of many women who've cheated, and they've had a man who had the resources, maybe had some status. In fact, I was telling a coaching client a story about that the other day. Okay. But I'm familiar with the particular person. They had some manhood issues they had to deal with. And that's ultimately what hooks the woman, is the man. You got to be the man. Like, people talk about game, or sometimes people talk about, you know, looks, money, status. Sometimes people talk about, hey, lying to the woman. But if you're a man, it's going to be your presence. You don't even have to say anything. And that's what they ultimately yearn. Now, they might have some issues where they say, well, let me see if he got some money. Let me see if he got this. Right? They might ultimately say that or want it, but, you know, they think it on another level. Because women are way more pragmatic. That's another video. But when you get down to it, when you really get down to it, you gotta be a man, because think about something. And I used this example before. What if there's an economic collapse? Or what if you're in a situation where your money or what you think is money and status don't mean anything? Because I'm going to tell you what, when you talk about real money, and it's mostly brothers on here, right? It's mostly brothers. I got guys of other races, but I've been around like some real money. Like real money. And I know some cats who've been around some real money. Some real, like, we talking 1%ers. This shit ain't nothing, man. So you could have a lot of shit going on, think you're doing something, even if you like a athlete or something. There's some people at a level so high, it's crazy. They looking at that shit like chump change. They can give like a pro athlete or some entertainer millions of dollars because they making billions. Because all those billionaires ain't on the Forbes list. They ain't all listed. Just some of them, you know, they can always say, "Nah, don't put my name on there. Don't put my name on there." So you can't really say, so, you know, no matter what you have, there's somewhere, somehow where that shit don't mean something. But the thing that means something no matter what is how much of a man you are. Because that's the one thing. I don't care how rich and powerful somebody is. If you're standing in front of them like a man, they'll respect you. They'll respect you. The women that want you, they'll respect you. Now, I know, see, one of the things, we live in a superficial world and people have been taught to focus on those superficial things. But when you have that strength of character, that power where you just walk in and people just recognize, say, "Damn, look at that motherfucker." Boom. And that's ultimately where you want to go. Now, let me make this clear, because a lot of times people hear me say stuff. I was like, look, I ain't saying anything wrong with that shit. Money, status, shit. Status, well, people decide if you got status among them. But I don't seek it. And money, shit, I love some money. Y'all know me. I charge for whatever. Even though I'm cheap on my coaching rates, but that's not a major thing with me. I make my money otherwise. But seriously. Because, you know, okay, like I'm about to go in this store here and get some stuff every morning. They have no idea what I do for a living. But people like, "Hey, Rom, hey, Rom, hey, Rom." They have no idea. I got people to see me around. They're like, "Damn, do you even have a job?" I'm like, "Well, kind of own some stuff." And they're like, "Oh, okay." Because they ain't tripping over it. And that's the thing. That's the thing. It's about who you are as a man. Everything else stems from that. And, you know, even when people use titles and stuff, that's artificial. Even race. I mean, some people might say, "Oh, well, yeah, Rom a black man." I say, no, Rom's wrong. Yeah, I'm proud of being black. Proud of the educational background. Happy I got some money in my account. But at the end of the day, it's who I am. Rom. And who I represent. And when somebody see me, they say, "Oh, that's a man right there." He carries himself. That's how he carries himself. And that's how every single person got to be. That's the focus. Everything else is the outgrowth from it. Everything else is the icing. Because when you at that core, when you masculine, when you manly at that core, when you stand on a principle, like no matter what, they can throw you, you know what, everything can burn down. Everything can burn down. And I'm going to tell you what, and I told this story before, when I was a freshman in college, the building, I was living in an apartment building, and the building burned down. And when it burned down, I had all the fly polos. I'd be going to class wearing a necktie, freshman wearing a necktie to class. Shoot, I was fly. Got out of there in a pair of pajama bottoms. Got out of there in a pair of pajama bottoms. And usually, because that's how bad the fire was. You ain't had time to like grab shit. And it was funny because I usually was like just slept in some like underwear. So I was like, you know what? That shit did better, but did it change who I was? Okay, all my props, all my style, all that was gone in a puff of smoke, but it didn't change who I was. So that was the valuable lesson there. So that's what it got to be about. But yeah, look, you can still get the nice stuff. I don't know if I get a BMW, probably get some type of sports car being me, because I like to drive. But I'll be the type, I'll keep this car. I'll keep this regular bucket, get a sports car, put that in storage, and just drive there when I want to do something special. Get it out, put it in a garage or something, just let it sit there. But anyway, Yeah, it's about that's what it all comes down to, and that's what the focus got to be. Everything else springs from that. So anyway, that's all I got for today. I'll holler at y'all. Peace.